Hi.
What have you done out there on the edge of Federation space?
Computer. Enable igniter.
Hi. Thanks for doing this. Nice to meet you. And congrats on getting a second season, first of all. What was your connection to Star Trek prior to Discovery?
Well, I sort of had a peripheral understanding of it because my parents used to watch TOS and also Next Gen, and I remember a little bit of Deep Space Nine as well, being on the television when I was growing up. So I would run by it like, oh, there's Star Trek, okay, you know. And then I saw the latest J.J. Abrams franchise, but I couldn't have called myself a Trekkie or a Trekker, but I am now.
Fair enough. What about you, Aaron?
I spent time as a child catching the original series in reruns. Unfortunately for me, I knew about Next Generation, but it was just in that period of time in my life when I was graduating from high school and entering university, and I didn't have a television at that point. So I've had to catch up a lot on Next Generation.
Cool. So your character, Michael Burnham, is pretty much on a redemption arc. And do you think she's going to get over that mutiny stigma? Or is that something that's going to be an issue beyond season 1 even?
You know, I hope that that absolution is waiting, and redemption and forgiveness, and it's certainly something that is driving me more than anything as Michael Burnham. But I feel that the decisions that I made that have led me to where I am as Michael will never go. It'll never go away. The imprint they made on me will always be there. The death of Giorgio will always be on my heart.
Well, as long as you and Saru are best friends in the end, that's fine, I guess. Aaron, must be hard to inherit a franchise like you did from Brian Fuller. Aesthetics aside, what a lot of people are asking themselves is you're having a story with warp drive alternatives that are better than warp drive with new alien races. Why set it in the past? Why not say it's 10 years after Voyager and the Klingons are rattling up again?
Yeah. Well, when we inherited the show and when we first began with Brian, because we actually worked with Brian for about 7 months before he left the series. So most of these stories and story arcs, not necessarily the micro, but the larger spine of things, was sort of part of Brian's idea. And I never really asked him why he set it in this sliver of time, because when Gretchen and I joined the show, we were still just trying to get up to speed on Star Trek in general and trying to find our bearings. I think that he was really fascinated with that sort of 10-year swath prior to the original series, because he was interested in the Klingons. He was interested in a Federation Klingon war. I also feel like the interesting thing about setting it 10 years prior, in a way, is that the parameters might be and I feel are a great way to introduce the audience to a first couple of seasons, because we're able to wedge it firmly in between things that fans may know. And we always have, we've got 10 years to sort of shake things up from there.
Any chance to see a young version of Spock in your shows, or is that out of the question for your iteration?
when it comes to Star Trek, I would say never, but I do think that Spock is such an iconic character, and I feel like Leonard Nimoy obviously put his indelible stamp on it, as did Zachary Quinto. To find two actors, to find a second actor who could revive that part with such success, that's tricky. So it would have to be some very special casting, and it would have to be the right storyline to want to reintroduce that character.
Any messages for the people who complained prior to the show about too much diversity on Star Trek this time around?
Well, I've had many opportunities to speak about this, which I find to be blessings to be able to talk about this, because it's so important for right now, for where we are at a time of such division and phobia and separatism. But I think that for the people who were offended by the diversity, but also said that they were lovers of Star Trek, I would just encourage them, as I always have, to just join us and come on board, if you will, and hopefully they will be changed by the story because that's the root, that's the real truth, and that's where the real hope is. But Star Trek has always been, it's always had a legacy of indivisibility and universality. And so to say that you're upset with the diversity is completely antithetical to me and to all of us, I think. And I think that I just hope that they tune in and maybe they'll get enlightened.
I think, I've always said Star Trek belongs to all of us, but more importantly, the future belongs to all of us.
Yeah.
And the future is going to be a diverse place, and the here and now is a diverse place. Our world is diverse.
Yes.
Star Trek is a metaphor for the human existence, and as long as the human existence is a diverse one,
yes,
that is how we need to portray.
Yes, it's our responsibility
our
to be a mirror, and that's what we are. It's what it's always been.
Awesome. Final question: what are you watching on TV when it's not Star Trek? Personally.
I mean, so many. This is the golden age of TV, right? There's so many good shows. Blackish, Master of None, Game of Thrones.
I believe in palate cleansers when I'm living in such a dramatic world as this Star Trek universe. I enjoy comedy, so I watch Vice Principals religiously, and I love Game of Thrones though, and all of the Real Housewives franchises. That's just a very good way to just kind of wipe away
There it is.
all of the fiction in your head, although those are fictional too.
Yeah.
I like to eat my dessert.
There you go.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm trying to save you. I'm trying to save all of you.
I'm ahead of you. I feel like I'm like looming over you. Like trying to,
I feel like I'm lurking behind you. Like, what do you think of that?
I love you lurking. It's fine.
I love you looming. That's fine.
Good. Okay, well then we're a great team.
Lurking and looming. That's
That's
our
our writing team. Lurking and Looming, our production company. Lurking and Looming, Incorporated.
LLC.
Uh-huh.